Hi, I'm Kristen. Welcome back to my channel. It's Christmas season full force now. It's December 2nd. And tomorrow I have a little Christmas party to go to. I'm just looking at the camera or the calendar. Um, and it's, a work Christmas party, bring your own little gifts, $20 limit. And so I found two little things to bring. And along with that, I wanted to make my own Christmas cookies. I have a cookie that I make every season, and it's just what I grew up with, and it's just something I like to do every year. So I have two different kinds of cookies, and I want to make some candied pecans to go with it. I thought that would go really well with the cookies, and yeah, that's the gist of it here. So keep watching. We're gonna bake some cookies together. We're gonna make some candy pecans, and then I'll show you how I am going to package the cookies and the present, and I'll be on my way. So just keep watching, please, and let's bake some cookies. Okay, so I know I said two cookies, but actually I'm going to do just one cookie, and it is a sugar cookie recipe. It's very easy. You just get 2 sticks of softened butter, 3 cups of all-purpose flour, goes into a big bowl, 1 cup of sugar, and then half a teaspoon of baking powder and half a teaspoon of salt. Get a pastry cutter and cut the butter into the dry ingredients, just like this. I find that the salt really enhances the flavor of these cookies. You can leave it out if you want, but I just think that the salt just really helps the cookie. It just tastes so good with the salt, with the sugar, and it's just good. So this is the texture you want. You want a sandy texture with the butter and the flour and the sugar. And then you can add in the wet ingredients, which is a half a teaspoon of vanilla and then 2 eggs slightly beaten. Just a little bit. I just put mine in right out of the fridge. I don't, you're supposed to do room temperature, but I'm never organized enough to, take my little eggs out an hour or two before I do my recipes. Like, I just don't. So, out of the fridge is fine. Okay, and then get the pastry cutter and kind of mix all the wet and the dry together so that it'll start forming the dough. And then after I work with the pastry cutter for a little bit, then I go in with my hands and mix it up the rest of the way. I'm looking for a smooth dough. It should be nice and smooth. Like this. It takes a little bit of elbow grease to kind of mix it together. But at least it's not pie crust, so you don't have to worry about, melting the butter too much. Okay, and then after you have it all mixed together and the dough is where you want it, then it needs to chill for about 3 hours. So, I'm actually doing this the night before. Oh, no. Yes, I'm doing this the day before I did the cookies. I put the dough together, chilled it, and then baked the cookies. So that, because you want them to be room temperature, totally chilled, the cookies, cool down before you decorate them. So anyway, put this in the fridge for 3 hours. Just wrap it in plastic wrap or put it in a Ziploc bag. But it needs to go in the fridge for 3 hours before you start to roll it out and cut out your cookies. So there we go in the fridge. Okay, so 3 hours later, here we go. Time to cut out the cookies. Use whatever cookie cutters you like. I just picked three shapes out of my big basket of cookie cutters. But anyway, the dough is a little bit hard to work with when it first comes out of the fridge, of course. But with the heat of your hands and rolling it and, you know, working with it, it softens up, you know, pretty easy, and it becomes a little bit easier to work with as it warms up a little bit. Also, before you get your cutouts going, then it's a good time to preheat the oven to 375, which is a good temperature here. See, with the heat of my fingers, I'm just pressing it, trying to get it to stick together into one uniform section of dough. Yeah, just flip it around. Make sure you have a generously floured surface to work on, because this dough will stick. It will stick to countertops quite easily. So make sure you have plenty of flour within arm's reach, so you can just add more when it starts to warm up and sticks. See, it's sticking to the rolling pin a little bit, but you just add a little flour and it's fine. I've had this recipe forever. I think my mom got it from one of her friends, like in the 80s. We've been making these cookies for a long time, right, Mom? A long time. And she gave this recipe to me, and it just works. This was always in the fridge. We always had these cookies around Christmas time growing up, that's for sure. So I'm just going to roll out all my dough, cut out all my cookies, and this is the thickness that I think is perfect. It's not too thick and not too thin. I don't like a thin, crispy Christmas cookie. No, it has to be soft. I don't want a crunchy Christmas cookie, crispy. I don't want that. It's no good. I like to have soft Christmas cookies. Okay, no color on them. Just a very nicely baked cookie. That's what I'm looking for here. If you want them crispier, you know, bake them a little warmer, cut them a little thinner, you know, roll out your dough a little thinner. I mean, but you gotta have a soft cookie, okay? You just do. In my world, you just need that. So I like to cut out all my cookies first, and then, you know, bake them all off. And these are not going to spread in the oven. They're not going to puff up a lot. What you see is what you get, you know. So you can crowd your pan, fill up your pan as full as you can get it. You don't need to space out these cookies very much at all, because, you know, they're not going to do much more than what they are right now. They're just going to be set from the oven, you know. So I'm just going to fill up my little pan here. And this is what it looks like when I put it in the oven. I always end up baking mine for about 10 minutes. And that's it. But, you know, 8 to 10 minutes is the cooking time, depending on your oven. And this is them right out of the oven, and they're perfect. We don't want any brownness on the cookies. We just want them set. That's it. Just like this. Because I'm going to decorate them with a little bit of colored icing. So, but yeah, no color. This is totally fine. Let them cool completely. And then we're going to move on to the icing for the sugar cookies. So it starts off with 1 cup of powdered sugar. The recipe says to sift it. You can take that or leave it. You're going to get the same result if you sift it or not, I found. I've done it both ways, and you get the same result. So I'm usually not going to do it, to be honest. So just sifting the cookies for the sake of the video, because it's in the recipe. I always make such a mess when I'm sifting cookies. I meant sifting powdered sugar, not cookies. Okay, I'm sorry. I misspoke there. Okay, so then you're going to add in 2 tablespoons of milk. to the sugar. And, you know, this is just a starting point because I usually end up adding more milk because it's usually too thick. But just start with 2 tablespoons and stir it up and just go from there. Like that. See, still thick. So I did add some more milk. Just a little splash at a time. You don't need to add a lot because the powdered sugar does soak up quite a bit. But just keep adding. Just a little bit at a time. And this icing will set on the cookies. It's you know, I wasn't sure if it would, but it does. It does set very nicely on the cookies. It's messy, of course, but anyway, then after you're messing with the powdered sugar for a little bit, then add in 2 teaspoons of light corn syrup. This bottle's almost empty. I'm trying to use this one up before I open my new one. So I'm just guessing about 2 teaspoons right there. I probably just could have dumped the rest of that in there, but and then a 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract. Whoop, quite generous 1/4 teaspoon there. I didn't use a measuring spoon, but I'm sure I did a very generous pour there. But anyway, just mix the corn syrup and the almond extract in. And I felt a need to add a little bit more powdered sugar. I didn't want the icing to totally run off the cookie, so I thought I should thicken it up just a tad. And then I have two bowls of the icing, and I colored one red, one green, and that will be the decoration for this cookie. It's really simple. I am definitely not known for my cookie decorating skills, that's for sure, but this turned out really nice anyway, nonetheless. It didn't run too much, as you can see. It didn't flood the, you know, over the sides. It stayed on pretty well, actually. There we go. And it's starting to set right after you get it on there. The ones, see those ones right there, those ones are setting already. Once you get about halfway through, the ones that you started with will have set and they'll be perfect. Okay, so moving on to candied pecans. So I have about 1.5 cups of pecans in that pan. I wanted to dry roast them. There's nothing in the pan, just let them go until you start to smell them and then take them out. And then in the hot skillet from toasting the pecans, I have a little bit of water. I will write this in the description box for you. And then 1/2 cup of brown sugar. Oh, I think it was 2 tablespoons of water. I just did this the other day. So we'll say 2 tablespoons of water, 1/2 cup of brown sugar. And let this boil a little bit so that the sugar can completely dissolve. That's what you're looking for. And I did a little bit of salt too, I believe. But yeah, don't just, you got to sit there and babysit it. Don't walk away because it will burn. So just let it boil for a little bit, and you can feel when the grainy texture is gone. And, you know, that means that will tell you that the sugar has dissolved. But anywho, I'll cut the heat off in a second here. And if you want to add some vanilla, you can, but I would just wait until after you're done boiling the sugar and you've taken it off the burner, because otherwise the vanilla will just kind of burn off and you won't taste it anyway. But I'm going to add a little bit here. Let the bubbles kind of settle down a little bit. And then just pour in just a half a teaspoon or a teaspoon, whatever you want is totally fine. Then mix that in. And at this point, the sugar is done. This is it. This is all you're going to do. All the cooking that's necessary for this recipe. And then you're going to take your pecans and pour them into the melted sugar. Or pour them into a bowl and then pour the melted sugar over the pecans. I love pecans, don't you? I just love them. They're so festive. They're just so wonderful. I have some pecan pie bars that I'm going to make. Oh my gosh, those are so good. Oh my gosh. It has like a cookie crust instead of a pie crust. It's a cookie crust. Oh my gosh. Woo, so good. So then get a spatula and toss those pecans around and the sugar. Make sure all those pecans are coated very nicely with the sugar mixture. Very good. What am I doing here? Oh, I wanted to get some cinnamon. I wanted to put a little bit of cinnamon on those too. Goes very well. A nice warm spice. I thought that would go really well on these. Toss them around one more time. Get them all nice and coated, and voila. There we go. All done. Then get a sheet pan out, put a piece of parchment down, and dump them out onto the baking sheet so they can completely cool. And get out a fork or, push them around and try to get them into a single layer. Because as they cool, you don't want it all to cool into one big clump, right? So kind of make sure that they're all like in as even a layer as you can get it. If they're sitting on top of each other a little bit, it's okay, but just try to get it all into one single layer. And just let them sit out and cool down. And there we go. These turned out really good. Really, really good. I had to sample one before I packaged it up, and it was really tasty. And as I said, I'm sprinkling just a little bit more salt. Sweet and salty is a great combo, so I always like to finish with a little bit of salt. Just like that. And as I said, I will write down all these recipes in the description box for you. I think I only have one link for the pecans to add in the description, but okay. And now it's time to get ready for me to go to my little Christmas party. So I'm getting my white elephant gift all ready to go. So I found this cookie container on sale at the store, and I thought that would be a great vessel to package up my cookies in. And for a little bit extra of, holiday festiveness, I wanted to first put down some tissue paper. So I have this red and green tissue paper to go in this little bucket here. I love that these little cookie containers are on sale this time of year. Like they're so convenient. And it makes a great little gift. You're not spending a whole lot of money, but yet you're getting a great presentation for a gift for somebody. And it just works out really well. So yeah, I totally messed up on the second cookie idea. I didn't get the right ingredient, and it was late at night, and I couldn't go to the store, and so I decided to just go with one cookie, which in here it was plenty. Like I didn't even use a whole batch in this, and this container was completely full with the one cookie, so it worked out just fine. So here we are, I have the cookies all packaged up. that. Here we go. I didn't want to fill it too full, of course, because I didn't want the lid to crush the cookies. So I just went until it was almost completely full, just shy of all the way full. I didn't want to break any cookies. They're somewhat delicate, you know, they crack and break kind of easy. So yeah, this is just about full right here. And the coworker I got that ended up with this gift, she was really happy with it, and she said the cookies were excellent and the pecans were great, and she was able to share these with her family. And so I really like giving, you know, putting my little homemade spin on things. It's always a nice little touch. So I have these little cellophane bag, this bag here, and I'm just gonna put my little pecans in there like that. Okay. And then I went downstairs and I got some ribbon so I could decorate the outside a little bit here. Just like that. And the gift I ended up with, the white elephant gift exchange, where it was a set of mixing bowls, and they're really, really pretty ceramic mixing bowls. I'm really glad I ended up with them. I'm sure you'll see them in my videos here coming up. But anywho, just finishing up this. All right, so just curling the ribbon, and then that's it for the pecans. They will go in the bag also with everything else. Okay, so I have this big gift bag, and I'll put a bunch of the red and green tissue paper in the bottom of the bag as soon as I can get the little sheets apart. It's very hard to. There we go. So I'll just kind of put some in the bottom to start off with. And then go the cookies. And the pecans. No, not the pecans yet. Oh, and I found these gloves to go in there too, and these funny socks. It says, "I'm a ray of frickin' sunshine." Those are funny. Haha. Anyway, very, very winter appropriate, right? That's what I think. So I'll just get some of the tissue paper and just kind of roll the socks and the gloves up in the tissue paper and stuff them on down in there, just like that. Yep. Here we go, the other one. Okay. And then the pecans. And then I went ahead and I wrote out the recipes for everything that I made. So if she wants to make them herself, now she can, right? I like to share recipes with people too. So I thought that'd be just kind of a finishing touch on my little gift. And it worked out really nice. I wanted to repackage it and set the recipes down in there by the cookies. So I had to take it apart just a little bit to get those in there. But so yeah, that's it. White elephant gift is ready. So thank you for watching. I know this video was a little bit long, but I just kind of wanted to share my idea with you and maybe give you a little inspiration for your, upcoming Christmas party. So happy holidays. Happy holidays out there. Eat lots of cookies, and I will see you guys in the next video.